If your workouts feel random, exhausting, inconsistent, then you may be overcomplicating your training. The truth is, with calisthenics, the best approach is simplified consistency rather than an endless amount of different variations. Think of it like this: if you were learning how to juggle, you wouldn't constantly change up how many balls you're juggling, the weight of the balls. You'd keep the variables all the same, and you just practice it constantly and get better at it over time. Today I'm going to break down in this video why keeping things simple will actually lead to faster strength gains and how you can incorporate it into your own actual training. So too many people in calisthenics think that in order to progress you need to do many different variations, many different exercises, but in truth this just often leads to training without an actual plan, which then leads to less effective progress in the long run. Variety doesn't necessarily equal results. In reality, muscles don't need a lot of variation. What they instead need is consistent progressive overload and structured skill development. So think about driving a car, for instance. You do not become a better driver by constantly switching vehicles, changing routes every 10 seconds, and skipping the fundamentals of driving. You improve by sticking to a single method, refining that method, and then building confidence in your ability to control whatever the method is, or in the case of calisthenics, the movement. Strength works the exact same way. The less chaos, the more mastery you will therefore have. Instead of constantly changing exercises, focus on mastering the fundamentals with clear progressions. A good training plan is one that is well structured, simple, and focuses on progressive overload week after week. A training plan like that is one that will actually lead to long-term gains in strength during your calisthenics journey. So focus on building mastery in the basics before adding complexity. Movements like push-ups, pull-ups, dips, rows, squats, and basic core movements. So a consistent training stimulus. Stick to a routine long enough for adaptation, but do not necessarily change things too fast. Focused skill development. If learning a skill, train it frequently without exhausting yourself. One way to do this is by implementing the method known as Grease the Groove, which I've gone over in previous videos. Also, progressive overload, increasing reps, slow down the tempo, add resistance, or refine your form and technique in order to implement progressive overload. Think about if you were learning a musical instrument, right? Something like the guitar. You wouldn't start by trying to nail down the most complex, advanced songs or chords. You would start off basic, just practicing where to hold the guitar and practicing the beginning chords. Training works in the exact same way. Nail down the basics, then you can add in the complexity later on. Doing too many variations too soon. Imagine trying to learn how to swim, but switching between 4 different stroke patterns before mastering even just the basic stroking pattern. You wouldn't gain the efficiency and you will be very easily overwhelmed compared to someone who focuses on that initial stroking pattern and then adds in the others at a later date. They have a stronger foundation to go off, therefore they can progress on the other strokes a lot more efficiently compared to someone who is trying to learn all 4 without that initial foundation. The solution to this would be to stick to one strong foundational movement, refine the movement, then progress from there. Number 2 would be too much training volume without any actual structure. Think of studying for an exam. Reading 100 random pages without any focus will not make you any more prepared for that exam. You need a structured plan, repetition, and focus on the high impact learning task. The solution to this: more reps don't always mean more progress. Prioritize quality execution over excessive repetition. Make sure the reps look clean, the form is well done, over pulling out many sloppy reps instead. On to the third point, trying advanced skills too early. If you are not yet ready for the planche but keep attempting it, you're skipping crucial steps that actually build the required strength for the planche. This will only make your journey take a lot longer and increase the likelihood of things like injuries. The solution to this would be to train the scaled down versions first, or the earlier progressions, ensuring joint safety and proper mechanics before progressing. With the planche in mind, these would be things like trying the planche with a resistance band, or trying the earlier progressions such as a straddle or a tuck planche. Finally, ignoring recovery and mobility. Think about building a house. If the foundation is cracked, it doesn't matter how beautiful or strong the walls are, that foundation will always be cracked. Right? The building will always be weak from the bottom up and will therefore be able to topple over more easily and is more susceptible to long-term damage. Poor mobility leads to a weak structure in your own body. This can affect things like long-term progress and injury prevention. The solution to this, make mobility and recovery a priority rather than an afterthought. Okay, include mobility routines either before or after your sessions or throughout the day. Master the basics first, then build strength over time. If you want faster results in calisthenics, you need to focus on structured simplicity. Here is how you can implement that in your own training. What you would do is choose 4 to 6 key movements, stick to the essentials and master them. This builds the strength faster than scattered exercises would. Keep the workouts short and focused. Again, quality reps over excessive volume. Less exercises, more intent. Again, you can use that grease the groove method for skill development that I have mentioned in previous videos. Instead of one exhausting session, train skills frequently throughout the day. Finally, recover smarter, not harder. Simplicity also applies to recovery. Quality sleep, joint mobility, structured rest, all of this leads to real gains. It's like building muscle memory in a sport. The more you practice it with consistency, the more autonomous the movement will become. When you simplify your training, everything will improve. You will have further gains in your strength and your physique, while also improving your technique along the way, therefore leading you to greater skill progression further down the line. One of the biggest mistakes that beginners to calisthenics make is they'll think about the short term. They'll swap between multiple different programs, routines, exercises. They'll never commit to an actual structured plan. Structured training versus scattered training. Think of building strength like planting a tree. If you dig it up now and move it every week, it will never grow deep roots. Strength works the same way. If you constantly switch workouts, your body never actually adapts to the movement patterns that build the real control in those movements. But when you stick to a structured plan over time, the improvements compound, muscle memory develops, movement efficiency increases, and strength becomes effortless. That is why simplicity wins. If you're training consistently and deliberately, you will see more long-term progress rather than more temporarily short-term progress. If you are a complete beginner to calisthenics or looking to get started and actually want to train smarter with simplicity and more efficiently, I've created a full calisthenics beginner blueprint that will walk you through everything you need to know in order to make real efficient progress and work towards those gravity-defying feats. If that sounds interesting, either click that link in the description or head on over to nathanthomaspt.com. Grab that program today, start your journey, start building real strength and working towards your goals. With all that in mind, stay consistent. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.